morning everyone, it is Wyatt and we are back again. Today we'll be working on a 2002 Yamaha Raptor 660. We'll be doing a carburetor clean and possibly a little bit more. We'll see as we get into it. First things first, customer's complaint is it doesn't start. Sometimes you need to also choke it to start. You can also visually inspect the fuel and give it a little whiff, and you can totally tell it's varnished. It's been sitting, doesn't look that great. So we'll be draining the fuel out, replacing the fuel, and then getting in, removing the carbonators, and then cleaning them. And then I'll go ahead and give you a detailed visual of that. This is a great motor. I know they went to a fuel injected, but this thing was always a tank, and they used it in a lot of the early Rhinos. Different carburetor, slightly different few things, but overall it's an awesome motor. Alright, so to get to the carburetors and get everything out, I am going to start by moving the camera out so much. I'm going to remove the front plastic, right? To do that, you're going to have to take out these little plastic clips, which I know can be a pain. So I recommend using a P1. Right? P1, and you just get in there, and you usually have to use both hands, because if you can see, if I just turn it with the one hand, the whole thing starts turning. Do this, hold the camera. So you hold this other part. Very nice. It pops up. You can just pull it right out. So I'll have to remove 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 4 is missing already. 3. And then I pull these 2 screws out with the P2. P1, too small. Then you have to come up here to an Allen, pull these ones out, and then this front piece will come out, and the plastic is still bolted in place. Okay, so you have bolts to take it out right here, right here, and someone used a different bolt, not stock, which is typical. They tend to vibrate out. You're racing along, and that stuff's just gonna come out. So if you take out these bolts, nut and bolt, and then the bolt here, reverse switch, and everything will stay in place, and you can pull the plastic just straight off. Okay, so I'll go ahead and knock that out, and I will be right on back with you. I'm also going to pull the battery out and hook it up to a trickle charger while I'm doing the rest of the work. Removing the battery is simple enough. You start on the ground, you remove the ground, remove the positive, and then there should be a strap, and this one doesn't have it though, so it's just kind of sitting in here. And then I will take that out and get it on the charger. Alright, Team OVM, the plastic is off. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to take the tank off. To do that, 3 bolts, 10 millimeters, so one right here in the back, one up here in the front, and another one up here in the front. And then what you have to do first is you come down to the petcock, and then you just pull. This one has a hose clamp, so I pull the hose clamp, pull a line off. Okay, so the line off, those 3, and the tank comes straight up and out of the way. Then we'll have a full access to the carbs. I want to show you something real quick. When I pulled the fuel line off, right? Look at all this debris that came out of the line, and so I'm guessing the tank's gonna be full of crud too. So I'm going to flush it out really well and make sure I get the line to the carb flushed out, so there's no more debris going into the carburetor that will cause an issue. So for this customer, I'm probably going to recommend that we install an inline filter. I'm pretty sure I usually have one in my box at all times just for this scenario. We have this all off. I'm going to be taking these off, the air horns that go into these boots. They go all the way back to the airbox. It's just going to be 4 clamps, and then we'll pull her out. So you have the Allen down there, see it? And then, I'm sorry, number 2 Phillips. And then you've got the 3mm Allens up here. I'm guessing they're really tight though. Yeah. So, I'll show you a trick. If it's tight like that, you just grab your whatever you want. 10mm is what I was using to take off the fender. So, you can just use it as leverage. Okay. Here, and it just breaks loose. Saves your thumb a lot of aggravation. I can't get it. Yeah, just put the wrench on there. See, breaks right loose. Saves the pain on my thumb. Okay, I got those out. Now, this is to prevent removing the rear fender. You just take out the 2 10mm bolts. Gives you just a little bit of wiggle room to pull those actually out. And they come out really easy. Next, I'll be doing the actual throttle cable. Pull this cover off, and then I'll give you a video of when I get the cable. And then I'll pull this is the choke up here. Top one is the choke. You have to be careful. It's plastic. You have to be nice and easy when you go in and remove it. Alright, so you're just nice and easy, right? You get in there, nice and easy. Be careful. Be careful. Once it's loose, you should be able to do it by hand. There it is. So when you pull this, it activates that. See? Alright everyone, I think I had this question quite a bit in my Rhino video, this is basically the same idea of the Rhino video on how to get this little piece right here, this little brass fitting out and get the throttle cable off, right? So, I'm sure there's a way in the book to do it, but what I do, I just take my fingers, pinch, 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 pinchy, 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 and just kind of get one of my little nails underneath, just a tiny bit under here, under the brass piece. Take a flat standard screwdriver, and I put it right on the end of the throttle assembly here, right? Let's push it down on the throttle assembly so I'm activating the throttle, right? Now at the same time, I'm also wiggling and pulling out this brass piece because it has to line up once you get it. Okay, you'll have to line up the cable with the top of the piece. Once you get that out, right, and it's just slide this little brass thing out here. Don't lose it. And then you just take this back part off, and the whole thing will come right out. When you put it back in, you do the same reverse. I'll show you when we go back in though, because it can be kind of a pain. Okay, now that we have the throttle cable out, and this is just a 7mm wrench. They did have this thing screwed way up here. I don't particularly like that. It was hanging on by barely any threads. But anyways, now we have to take the clamps out. Another 3mm Allen, right? Get way up in there. And they're probably tight as all get out. Oh, that wasn't as bad. So we're going to loosen those up. And with the other side, do the same thing. And that's it. The carburetors are going to be out. And when I get them out, we will do an in-depth video on the bench of tearing them down, cleaning them, right, making sure everything is good to go on the inside and putting it back together and getting this thing back in the bike. Okay, carburetors are out. They're on the bench. Now make sure, whenever you're working on the Yamaha product, you must have a blue Yamaha little mat, okay? Otherwise, you're doing it wrong. You're wrong. Just tell yourself you're wrong, because you're doing it wrong. Anyway, so we'll get into it. I got the better camera to get a better view. I stopped these things, but I can tell you a couple things right off the bat. You can see the buildup in here, right? Flip it over and you can see the buildup all up in here. And in fact, the slides, this one will move, right? This one won't move at all. So what I'll have to do is soak it in some carb clean, let it sit for a few minutes, and then slowly work it so it'll move. It's just stuck with the varnish, which means on the inside of the carb in the bowl, probably gonna be a ton of varnish in there. In fact, I can already see, look at this screw. See the wrong screw that's in there? Look how much far back it is. I'm gonna probably guess the wrong screw, which is good because I got some extras, so that's a good thing. All right, let's get to it. Even spraying on it, you can see it's starting to come off. You can already see the difference in here. It just pulls it right out. Look all right in here. And I've got a little Brillo pad. Let's go in here and just kind of sweep this out. I'll take a lot of that junk out of there. You get your finger over here and you activate the throttle. I know it's a pain. You get in here and try to do it. And once you get it activated, so once you get the throttle, the butterfly is open, you can get in between them. Anything in between. Who be texting me? Always want to try to keep your parts separated because some carburetors have different size jets in different sides. And I'll go by the relationship to the carburetor on the bike. So this is the right side. I'll keep all this right side stuff on the right side of me, and the left side stuff on the left side of me. Take this, give it just a little tap, get a pop, break it loose. Yeah, buddy. Alright. All the varnish buildup in here. I'll take this back where it was. Easy enough. You have the main jet, then you have your pilot jet, which is, or slow jet, whatever term you want to use, That's the idle circuit. That's the one that's normally clogged. Take this out to make sure that, not bad. So you want to look at this rubber tip, make sure there's no debris on it or it's messed up. And then now I can blow through here too. That's the air. This jet actually looks brand new. The customer told me he had work done on it at a different place just down the way. You can get no air through it at all. It's clogged. So what I'll do is I'll take the jet and I'll put it in the bowl. I'll get the main jet out, put it in the bowl. Bang, not in there too tight. Main jet is clean, it's huge. Put it in the bowl, and I'm back on this one because of everything being clogged. I'm going to go ahead and take out this piece. Should be an 8mm. You can see some buildup on it. That part. Now we're going to work on the slide. Spring in there, obviously don't lose the spring. And then the slide, what you're looking for to see if it's busted at all, if the rubber's messed up. Now on this one, remember it was getting stuck just a little bit. So very carefully, without dinging anything, you just go straight across, you just lift it up just a tiny bit. And that'll usually break it loose. You can see there's a lot of junk up in there. When you look at the slide itself, you can see there's a lot of stuff on it. And the needle, you can see all of the buildup around here, so I'll have to clean all that off. So that is essentially the right side carburetor. Alright, let's move on to the left. I'm just going to take out let's see where it's set at first. So half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. Oh my god, 3 3/4. That's crazy. That's too much. I can guarantee it's too much. See, like I said, see this spring is much bigger than the other one. See the left side. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, put in 3 1/4. There's also a washer way down the side here. Oh yeah, you can't see it. It's a brass washer with a rubber piece. The most important one of this, the most important one is going to be the idle. So I'll put right on the idle, and then I'll plug up the idle adjustment. I'll blow that stuff. It's forcing it. If you look inside the body, right? Let's follow along. You can follow. So here's the idle. It comes down straight across. It's going to go to this, right? It's going to come down right here. You have your adjustment that's going to come out right here, and then you have these little itty bitty teeny tiny holes, teeny tiny, right there. Hard to see. Bring it up, right up against very bottom. And that's all the fuel you get at idle. It's just a tiny bit. And you can just follow it along, and the main will go straight to in the middle. I just take a look and I can see a light right through it now. Okay, there we go. All back together. Everything is working as it should. Now let's go get them back into the bike. This one will definitely be for the outtakes. If You can see behind my hand what's sitting over here. This little guy goes in there. Whoops. Alright, I'm going to slide the carbs back in. Nice and easy. I'll tighten the clamps down. And when I tighten the clamps down, I'll keep a little bit of pressure on the carb so it doesn't move. Okay, so I'm going to take the cable, I'll slide it in. Okay, alright, so now we have the cable in. Take my little brass piece. Make sure you don't drop it like I just did. Okay. Again, trying to turn it so I can show you something. It has a little hole. Take this cable. Slide it in, and then you have it locked in place. It's not going to go in. We push down on the throttle. That's it. You got to make sure you get it lined up. Vroom, 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 vroom. Okay, carbs are back in, they're all cleaned. Remember when going back together, like putting in this choke, to go slow and easy. Nice and easy. Start it by hand, so you're not get that feel, so you're not cross-threading it. Okay everyone, thanks for hanging out with me today. This is all finished up. I just have the bike on a trickle charger for the customer while I clean up my mess of tools. And now that we're all said and done, I talked to the customer. He did run it without the airbox. There's an aftermarket filter in there. This box doesn't fit back on right. He just put it on to sell it. So we'll turn it on. Well, there you have it. Thanks again for watching my video, and look forward to seeing any comments, any questions you might have, and I will answer them as soon as I can. All right, take it easy. Bye.